So my project is on Voyageur. 64 pieces, 64 stories in one guitar with one meaning. Canada. Voyageur, a completely Canadian guitar project named Six String Nation, was created by Jowi Taylor. Taylor and the guitar maker George Rizsanyi took 11 years to collect all the pieces and make the guitar, forming a guitar with 64 pieces and stories, but with one meaning: Canada. Jowi Taylor grew up in Don Mills, Ontario. Taylor was a host and producer for CBC Radio. He wrote, hosted, and co-produced award-winning shows. Just before the 1995 referendum, Taylor got an idea to make a guitar out of Canadian pieces. He thought that Canadians didn't have anything to represent their history. Canada's past is rich and profound. There are numerous symbols of what Canada really means, such as hockey, beavers, or maple leaves, but there wasn't a big object that had all these symbols. Taylor wanted to integrate these emblems into an object which truly meant Canada. Jowi Taylor chose a guitar to be the final product. A guitar reflects all Canadian cultures instead of just one. The most important reason why Taylor wanted to make a guitar was that many of the famous Canadian artists are guitarists. That's because music is such a vital part of Canada, and a guitar is a clear way to portray that. Luckily, Taylor met a guitar maker named George Rizsanyi, who made guitars out of Canadian trees. Taylor asked Rizsanyi if he could make a guitar out of one piece for each province and territory of Canada. Originally, Taylor collected not only some artifacts from famous people, such as Wayne Gretzky's hockey stick, part of Maurice Richard's Stanley Cup ring, Pierre Trudeau's canoe paddle, and Nancy Green's childhood ski, but also objects that not many people know, like Joe LeBeau's shucking knife and Tyler Aspen's mallet. Even the smallest and least known of these emblems can be interesting and part of such a big country. After 11 years of work and preparing for the big day, on the evening of July 1st, 2006, the guitar made its debut with Stephen Fearing playing The Longest Road in front of over 80,000 people. After that, Taylor decided that the guitar should have a name. When someone mentioned the name Voyageur, Taylor decided it was a great idea. Voyageur literally means traveler in French, and it gives a sense of the wild landscape of Canada and Canada's love for the wilderness and adventure. Since Voyageur's debut, it has traveled to over 100 schools and presentations, has journeyed over 300,000 kilometers and counting to places all over the country. Many famous singers have played the guitar, such as Kanon and Stumpton Connors. On the first day I met Voyageur, my sister played a self-written song on Voyageur. As I sat there listening, I realized that nothing could replicate Voyageur's rich and mellow resonance. Anyone who listens to Voyageur can hear the different stories filled with pride, happiness, joy, and even sadness. 64 individual pieces of Voyageur fit together to create an incredible harmony, just like each unique Canadian coming together to create the true definition of Canada. Okay, so now I'm going to show you my board. So right here is the actual inside of Voyageur. You can see there's some red numbered dots in here. So it points to all the pieces in Voyageur, all 64. And also here, there's a map of all the little pieces in Voyageur. So you can see all these little red dots, and that's where all the pieces come from. So you can see there's one from every province and territory of Canada, and obviously some more since there's 64 pieces in Voyageur. How I met Voyageur is Jowi Taylor went to my sister's high school, Glen Eagle Secondary, to have a presentation of Voyageur. So I actually went there, and that's her getting ready to play, and that's Voyageur, Iris, and I. And also, we recorded Iris playing on Voyageur. So over there is a video of Iris actually playing Voyageur and her song, and if you have more time you can obviously see it. This is my main body of Voyageur, the one that took the longest time to write, and what I just read to you is just a short summary of it. So you can also see that there's some big black dots here, right? So say there's a number 1, because there's a number for each of the dots. So you match this number 1, and there's a number 1 over here too. So that means that that's where this piece came from, which is Paul Henderson. And you can match 2 with 2. So I'm going to name all the pieces. So number 1 is Paul Henderson and the top of his hockey stick, Pierre Trudeau and his commute paddle, Nancy Green and part of her childhood ski. Over here is the golden spruce and a sliver of wood from it. And this is Fantan Alley and a part from its door frame. And the Nova Scotia Home for Colored Children and part of the actual home. So the ones on the sides were my most favorite pieces in Voyageur, the ones that I thought were most interesting. So as you can see here for the golden spruce, I decided to write around a page or 2 about it. So I had to research about it, and then I wrote it. Also, if you look on this is my creative component. It's an actual life-size cardboard model of Voyageur. So you can see there's number 1 on here too. So obviously it matches with that number 1. So right here is actually where Paul Henderson's hockey stick is. So this cardboard model took around over 3 weeks to make, and I made it by myself. My dad just helped me cut it because that's kind of dangerous for me. Other than that, I had to paint this guitar around 3 times, and obviously they had to dry in the middle. As you can see, there's some tape here, so I had to tape it and then paint it and then wait for it to dry. And then eventually I printed out some pictures from the actual Voyageur on the internet, and I glued them on, and then eventually I also added strings and connected them with some nuts and bolts. And also, if you look over here, this is, because I love hockey so much, I decided to pick 2 more pieces of my most favorite ones from Voyageur related to hockey, and I decided also to write a page about them. So this is Maurice Richard and Wayne Gretzky. So if you want to take a look at that, you can do that later. So this is my big binder of research. So basically, I had all my research. I went to the library, I got magazines from home, and I found research in them. So I also got research from the internet. So let's just say my main body of Voyageur. You can see here all the research here. And then second, I read all of it, and I processed all the information, and I wrote a very rough draft. So, and then my sisters and my mom and dad helped me correct it a bit. And then next, I, as you can see here, typed it up. And even after that, I would still have to maybe make some corrections. And then finally, what you see here is the final product of what I made from all of this. Also, a lot of my info that I got from Voyageur, for my main body of Voyageur, was in this interview with the actual guitar, the project creator, Jowi Taylor. So I contacted him, and he was very nice, and he agreed to let me interview him and ask him a couple of questions. So you can see here in the pink is my question, and then he answered them, and that really helped for the main body. Also, there's actually a book about Six String Nation here, and this doesn't really tell me a lot about the pieces. It more tells me about stuff like for my main body, actually, because it tells me about how he got the idea, around how long it took to make it, the difficulty, and it has a lot of pictures and really helped me with that main body. Also, right here is just some research papers, because there's obviously the 64 pieces on Voyageur, and I didn't cover all of it, so I decided to print out some more research about some other pieces that I thought were very interesting, and I read about them, and I got some info about them. So it was very interesting, and since I love reading so much, it was very cool to me. So there's stuff like the Parliament buildings, the inventor of basketball, James Naismith, and some other really interesting topics, and their pieces are actually in Voyageur. And so right here, there was actually a case and strap eventually added to Voyageur, and there's actually some pieces on it too, as you can see here, and the strap also has some pieces on it. And right here is Stephen Fearing, who first played Voyageur, and over there is George Rizsanyi, who actually made the guitar. He's the guitar maker, and that's him playing it. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask.